What's up, guys? In today's video we're going to make some adjustments to Horrorverse. I'm going to show you a little bit about what that platform is, and then I'm literally going to be writing code, so if that's not your thing, now's the time to buzz out. But I'm going to walk through how I'm using AI, how I'm thinking about design, and how we're going to build on this new feature. So Horrorverse is essentially a scary movie discovery engine, and its primary purpose is to answer the question, hey, I want to watch a scary movie, but I don't know what to watch. And the point of it is to aggregate all the things that horror movie lovers like myself find interesting about movies. And that means also recommending movies, but also finding movies that kind of scratch the right type of itch. So if we look at the movie on Horrorverse like Heretic, we can see that it's not only got its rating, and this is the local version, so this is all my own data, but it also has, different categories for how this movie is actually set up. So it's got scares, atmosphere, plot, lore, villain, gore, acting, unpredictability, all these different factors that as a movie fan you might want to know about. What's interesting, what's good. Maybe you're super into atmosphere, maybe you want a gory movie with no plot. This would be the kind of tool that can help you find movies to do that. Now, this is a fairly new product, so there's really not a lot of guts in it yet, but that is the vision for where we want to go. So today, if you're signed into Horrorverse, you have a watch list, and our mission today is to improve this experience here. So we have a story to work through, and that is to make a mobile friendly watch list, and I'll show you what the heart of that is. So on desktop, which is what we're looking at here, you can filter by service for what movies in your watch list are on a specific service. So if you click Amazon Prime Video, the Legend of La Llorona is on Amazon Prime. We can clear all that, or we could just filter by streaming only. I don't love the design of this. It's just kind of an MVP, just kind of get started with the feature. But on mobile, if we switch over to a mobile view, and I'll do that with the developer tools here, you can see that you don't get any of those options. And in fact, the white background of all this is a little outdated too. The watched list just shows your titles, and then the watch list doesn't have any sort of filtering. So we're going to add filtering to it to match the desktop experience. Maybe in the process we'll also improve the appearance function of that. Anyways, let's hop in. So I've already got in the stuff up and running here, but I don't even remember what component this watch list is in. So I'm going to inspect element here and find a class, and then work my way backwards there. So user profile nav mobile, let's pull that up here. Okay, mobile user list. So that's what this one is. And these items, I assume, come from the user list. Yes. Okay. So we have also here a set of styles that we're using from userlist.css and app.css. So I'm going to open those up on the side, and we're going to use this to prep our AI to help us out with what we're looking for. So app.css. So, okay, so we're using classes from that. And generally speaking, the way that these classes are set up is depending on the name of the component. I will name the class the component name as a prefix, and I'll do that. I'm not using any sort of framework. I'm pretty bare minimum with CSS. By bare minimum, I mean I have thousands of lines of CSS. Generally, not a lot of it is shared. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Allows me a lot of flexibility without worrying about things that change. That being said, we want to add something that matches our desktop experience. So if I look at our desktop user list, and I'll pull these guys over here, I just want to see how we're doing this today. And it looks like, actually I'll flip back over to the product. Looks like let's dock this guy down here. We have this filter, drop down user filter, desktop user filter. Let's see where we find this. Okay, so here's our drop down. We're handling it with a filters open. Is it open? Here's all your options here. Available platforms, which is calculated somewhere up here, helps us figure out what the platforms are that within your watch list even exist. And then it looks like we have a few things that can do this. So what I'm going to do is this. I am going to open our new composer, and I'm going to say, please review. I'm going to just kind of set the stage here. Please review the structure and function of the mobile user list. Oh, we need to make a new chat. Here we go. Of the mobile user list and the styles and conventions used in user list.css. List or lists list. Then review the desktop user list functionality for handling filtering the available titles by streaming platform. When you are ready, I will provide your next task. I'm just going to see how accurately Cursor figures out exactly what we're going for. I've reviewed the files. Here are the key observations. Okay. Handles a mobile view of users' watch lists and watch movies. Okay, that looks good. That looks generally good. Implements streaming platform filtering. Uses drop-down menu. Okay. Has streaming only quick toggle. Key patterns. Okay. All right. So now we're going to say that is correct. Let's build a mobile-friendly streaming platform filtering section that operates the same way inside of mobile user list. Place all new required classes inside user lists.css. Following existing conventions. Design the appearance to match generally accepted mobile conventions for list filter designs such that the user has a expected easy time understanding the interface and navigating it to filter their watch list by the different platforms. Also make sure there are mechanisms in place to remove filters, reset filters, or to select or reset filters. We'll kind of leave it at that. All right, that's a pretty bold request of our AI, but we will see what Cursor does. We'll take a look at it and then we'll kind of adjust from there. So it's going to go through, look at all of our code, make its proposed adjustments, and we'll take a look. And that's kind of when I do a light code review. Now, a lot of HorrorVerse has been composed with Cursor, so I don't know the code base as intimately as I do with other products that I built, which is kind of fun, also a little bit scary, but it does open a lot of opportunity because we get to see exactly where AI is at any given point, and it's come a long way since I started using it. Now, Cursor in this case is backed by Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is a good model. I've been pretty thrilled with the result of that. So let's take a look at what our diff is suggesting. So on the mobile user list, we're going to have a few new state variables. Selected platforms, is filter drawer open, and is streaming now. Great. We're going to calculate available platforms using a memoized use memo hook. And from that, we're going to review the items in the user list, which comes with all of that data. Assuming it's studied how we were doing that in the previous one, it's the same set of data, just provided separately. Filtered user list will change depending on if the user list changes or if the selected platform changes. That's good. Handle platform change. We'll say, looks like that is going to actually work on the toggling state of all of our stuff. Handle clear filter, we'll just set everything up, reset everything. Handle select all filter, will reset everything as well. Handle streaming now change, we'll say current state equals Boolean is streaming now. So are we streaming now? Okay. That's when we click the show me everything that's streaming. It looks like we got rid of a significant amount of code here and replaced it with the filters, the streaming only. This is all the header stuff. And here's the user items as before. So it looks like a lot was deleted, but it actually wasn't. It was just kind of moved down. All right, and then I'm gonna kind of trust this. Now what I've noticed with cursor is it is pretty aggressive about adding CSS, but I'm gonna be forgiving today and just say that's okay. So let's accept all. It'll rebuild our server and our client, and then we'll get what this looks like here. So we'll flip back over, and it looks like we have a filter that is super ugly. Does not work. And you see a little more of this. Let's go 75%. Actually, let's take this off too. We'll put this guy over here. Make this guy smaller. Okay, so we have a drawer, looks like it pops up from the bottom. Oh, and that includes the streaming only button. That's how that handled that. So streaming only, MGM plus, filter is there. I don't like this little space here, and then this border that was put here, but if we functionally see if it works, then we can kind of work on the appearance. So now, if I select multiple filters, I get both of those movies. That's good. Amazon Prime Video, that I guess it's probably gonna be the same. Netflix, adds Netflix. So is this on Netflix? It is on Netflix. Okay. So functionally, it seems to be working pretty well. I don't like that this box is a different size than the others, but that's something that we will change. So first thing let's change is, and the colors of the fonts a little bit is muted with the white background, so that's not gonna work. I'm also not tickled about the drawer from the bottom, only because if the list gets kind of long or if the list is short, I don't know how that's going to play because we have a drawer down here and you can see there's things hidden behind it. So I'm actually gonna invert it and have it come from the top. That way we can kind of scroll down the bottom. First, though, let's get rid of this spacing here. So we can probably do this all by hand. So the mobile filter header style we can see has a padding of 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 15 on the left and right. We don't want any padding on the left and right. So let's make that adjustment first. So we're gonna go and just do this by hand. Let's make this smaller. I want to watch this in real time. There we go. So let's find that class. There's only one of them, so we don't have to worry about anything weird. And let's get rid of padding and see what it looks like. It looks like that's also responsible for our border on the bottom. So let's get rid of that. Control X. So it looks good. Obviously, we don't like the lack of padding. So we don't need padding though. Let's just put a margin on the bottom. Let's see what it looks like with one rem. Not bad. I don't like the weird space between here. So let's see what we got going on between the top row. There's us, and then the nav. So the nav, there we go. The nav has a padding of 10 pixels. So maybe we just want 10 pixels below, and that should make that pretty even. Now I don't always love having pixels be there, and it doesn't have to be pixel perfect, but that looks pretty good, right? There's an equal amount of space between the border and there. And we also have in our watch list, these are movies that we're intending to watch. We have the ratings and the added dates and all that, and that's all good to have. I'm not sure that's as necessary. I think I'd like to show the watch list similar to how we're showing the watched list. Let's do that at a later time, but let's deal with this filter first. So I'm going to tell Cursor that we made a few changes so that it doesn't think there was something wrong with its previous changes and try to overwrite it. So I'm going to kind of tell it to, hey, current state is how we like it. So I made a few changes to the styles. the next thing I want to adjust is the appearance and presentation of the filter menu when it appears. Now we don't have to recontextualize everything here because this is a conversation within Cursor in the composer. It knows when I refer to this, because I didn't refer to anything else, I'm referring to the mobile thing that it just built. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that when I make this suggestion, it knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I made a few changes to the styles. The next thing I wanted to adjust is the appearance and presentation of the filter menu when it appears. I'll tell it what I don't like, and then I'll tell you what I would prefer to happen. So right now, it comes up as a drawer from the bottom of the screen. This is somewhat limiting as there are floating elements on the bottom that are covering up the interactable elements of the filter menu. Instead, let's actually have Cursor pitch us a few ideas that we can then tell it we like and have it build that specific edit. I'd like you to develop 3 different options, 3 different alternative ways for our filter menu to let's, instead of filter menu, let's say for our users to filter the titles by streaming platform. I will select one if I like it, and you will build it. All right, 3 alternative approaches. Full screen modal with animation. Filter button triggers a slide up animation, covers the whole screen. Clean focused interface with large touch targets. Header with close button and title. Okay, that's in the header, yep. Large toggles / switches for each platform. Sticky footer with apply, yep. Advantages, no overlap. Full, okay. Example mockup. Hey, that's pretty good actually. Expandable header filter, option number 2. Filter button expands downward from the header, stays in context with the content. Horizontal scrolling platform chips. Okay, interesting, like, you know, like almost like social media. Quick toggles without leaving the main view. Advantages, maintains context. Okay, and it kind of looks like that. The mockup is freaking me out a little bit, so let's pass on that one. Side sliding panel. Filter button triggers panel sliding in from the right. Partial width overlay, about 80% of the screen. Oh, I see. So just a panel or a drawer comes across. Dismissible by swiping or tapping outside. Advantages, familiar pattern for many mobile apps. Now, this is somewhat of a progressive web application. It's not a perfect one. So I like it from that standpoint. Easy to dismiss. There's the content. Here comes the filters. Okay. I like the idea of bringing in that panel. Let's have it do that, but let's have it come over the top of everything rather than sharing the space with everything, which isn't terribly different from what we have going on here. The problem is that it's just behind everything. Okay, so just to make it really easy for us to revert, now Cursor has some built-in stuff to make this easier, and I'm not terribly worried about commits being perfect here, but I'm going to add a commit so that we can just kind of easily unwind all of our changes, reset our context, and get going. It's kind of the hard mode, but when I'm worried about decisions and unwinding, I still don't have a lot of faith in Cursor to do that without having these false beliefs or hallucinating about what actually needs to get done. So we're going to add a commit here to safeguard ourselves. Init the mobile watch list filter view. Okay. All right, so let's proceed with option 3. I want to make sure that it comes up over the top of the content rather than sharing space. I also want to make sure that it is over the top of all floating elements like the mobile navigation menu on the bottom to avoid any paint conflicts. Please proceed. YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. Let's see what happens. This is a new pattern of cursor. It used to not, maybe it's a setting I clicked, but it used to not show all the code that it's looking at. It would just kind of spin and think. And now it's showing everything, which is overwhelming to me. I can't handle that. So, all right, key changes made. Added a full screen overlay. That's exactly what we're looking for. Semi-transparent background. That's cool. Z-index. Yep, maybe that'll work. Z-index is a bit of a gamble. Added slide-in animation. That's kind of tight. If it works. All right, let's just accept all. So accept all. Sick, baby. Sick. Now you can see that the background is still scrolling. Now that's not a too big of a deal because you won't even notice it. The filter button lost all of its styles, but we'll come back to that. We can add all of our stuff and then click apply, and then we come back and we have everything. I really like how this is functioning. If we go streaming only and apply, the brilliance of the streaming only option here is that it literally will just select everything that's streaming, and then you can just kind of unselect anything. Now there's a bit of a bug, right? Because it still has streaming only selected, but that's fine. Not available for streaming right there. Okay, so that's good. That's actually good. Let's have it adjust some of the finer style, like fine tune some of these styles. So let's do this. We'll say, I like to give it a chance to make things right. So whoops, looks like the main filter button and the clear filters button lost their styles. Please restore them. Then adjust, well, let's adjust, we can adjust the font color by hand. We don't need AI to do that. We'll see what it is doing specifically. So, all right. So you'll notice how much more CSS we get with cursor. It's like, oh, it just loves adding them styles. And I don't like this because we have that actually defined in app CSS, but we'll come back to that. So apply all. There, looks just like it did before. We've got still a few issues to work out here, but I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, clear filters needs a little more. If you look at this text here, clear filters is hard to read. That red text does not contrast well without a lot of space. So I don't like that. That's not very accessible. So we're going to manage the rest of this by hand. So first, let's take a look. Let's fix the text colors. So we have this H3 and the color is coming from nowhere. So it's just picking up the body color, which is fine, but that's not exactly what we want to do. And I think we could actually, if everything's inside this mobile filter panel header, oh, that's just the header. If everything is inside it, we could define color in the parent of everything here, which would be, where are we? Here we go. Here we go. Mobile filter side panel. Let's add a color to this and see if that actually gets it all the way through. So color, var, color. I don't even remember what our colors are. I define a lot of these things up at the top level here. So we do have a background dark. Yeah, background dark would be fine because that's kind of like the contrast if we're going to do a light background for the filter menu, which is fine for now. So let's add that color there. Dash dash. Okay, that already 100% better. The clear all and apply look pretty friendly. I'm not on my actual phone, but it seems like that's the right size of things we want to see. Okay, cool. Let's fix this little box here so that it's the right size. So we have, this is inside of that 24 by 24. See, they set that at 24, and these are set at, these are actually inputs. So let's have it, they're using a, they're using an icon for the streaming only button, but they're using inputs for the rest of this. Let's equalize that and make the streaming only use an input. So I'm gonna have cursor do that. So please adjust the streaming only toggle to use an input so that it matches the form and function of the streaming platform option inputs, which are defined in the class. Let's take a look at that. I try to give it more information than it probably needs, but we'll say this. Boink. Whoops, there we go. Okay. Right now it is using an icon, but we want it to use an input to handle its function. And then change the color of the selected color of the box when one of the options is selected to be, we'll use the brand color, that red, var color brand. Var color brand. What I mean there is right now it's blue. I want that to match the red. Just kind of be a little more comprehensive like that. Okay, accept all, I'm not even gonna check. Oof, that's pretty good, huh? Wonder why the little check is like that. Maybe it's always like that and I just don't notice. All right, cool. So we fixed some colors. We have a pretty good little filter menu. Let's change our clear filters text to be white. Or a button. I'm not sure if we want that to be white or a button, but we'll set that here. Mobile filter clear. So that'll be, go over here. Find that. Color, bar, color, white. I think I have a color white. If I don't, I should. Nope. Color, white. Oh, this should work. Save. Maybe not. Interesting. Okay, so that didn't take effect, but why not? Oh, because we are defining it here. There we go. Cascading style sheets. Love them. Okay, save. Clear filter. Let's just add a underline to that, and then that'll make it seem like it's interactive. Text declaration underline. There. It's not perfect, but it should work for what we're trying to do. And for mobile, let's give it some padding that we won't be able to see very well, but just for tap or fat fingers so that they don't have any issues getting a hold of it. So let's see what kind of space that takes up and make sure that it's not going out of control. So yeah, that's probably all right. That's probably good. It's hot. Okay, so we apply, we clear filters. It looks like everything is working as far as the filters work. So I'll call this story complete. And yeah, I think we'll call that good. Like in the next video, we'll work on adjusting some of the appearance of the actual titles inside the watch list. So it's a little more modern, a little more friendly and interactive. Like it's not exactly clear what these options do. And this was set up quite a while ago. So there's a lot that we can do in this space to improve that. Until next time, I hope you have a great day, great evening, wherever you are. I hope the weather's good. Hope you learned something, pick something up. Let me know if you have any questions below, and I'll see you later.